Picture this, you're Julius Caesar. September 52 BC. You're surrounded. 250,000 screaming Gauls outside your position. 80,000 more trapped inside a fortress you're besieging. Your army? 60,000 exhausted Romans. The math is brutal. You're outnumbered 5 to 1. Every general in history would retreat. Cut losses. Live to fight another day. Caesar does the opposite. He builds a wall. Actually, 2 walls. One facing in. One facing out. Traps 80,000 enemies inside. Keeps 250,000 enemies outside. Then starves them all while defending from the middle. It's the most insane military strategy ever attempted. It shouldn't work. It's mathematically impossible. But in 6 weeks, Caesar ends an 8-year war. Conquers all of France. Becomes legend. And we know exactly how he did it, because archaeologists found the walls. Still there. 2,000 years later. Right where Caesar said they'd be. This is Alesia. The siege that changed Western civilization. Let's watch Caesar pull off the impossible. To understand the genius of Alesia, you need to understand the disaster Caesar was facing. Year 52 BC. Caesar's been conquering Gaul, modern France, for 6 years. He's brutal, efficient, unstoppable. Entire tribes surrender without fighting. Those who resist, massacred. By 52 BC, Gaul seems conquered. Rome seems inevitable. Then everything falls apart. Enter Vercingetorix. This guy is different. He's young, maybe 30, but he's been watching Caesar for years, studying his tactics, learning his weaknesses, and he realizes something nobody else has figured out. Caesar's legions are invincible in battle, so don't fight battles. Vercingetorix does something insane. He burns his own country. Every Gallic village Caesar approaches, burned before he arrives. Every grain store, torched. Every farm, destroyed. Caesar's legions march through Gaul finding nothing but ash. No food, no supplies, no loot to pay the soldiers. For the first time in 6 years, Caesar's starving. His legions are grumbling. Men are deserting. The invincible Roman war machine is breaking down. But Vercingetorix's real genius isn't military, it's political. For the first time in Celtic history, he unites the tribes. These are people who've spent centuries killing each other. Arverni hate the Aedui. Aedui hate the Sequani. Everyone hates everyone. But Vercingetorix gets them all on the same side. His pitch is simple: stop fighting each other. Start fighting Rome. Or we all become slaves. It works. Within months, he's assembled the largest Gallic army in history. Over 100,000 warriors. Every major tribe. United for first time ever. Caesar's in trouble. Real trouble. His legions are scattered. His supply lines are cut. Vercingetorix is playing him perfectly, ambushing stragglers, hitting camps, disappearing before Romans can form up. It's guerrilla warfare, and Romans don't know how to fight it. Then Vercingetorix makes his first, and only, mistake. After winning a cavalry skirmish, his men want to pursue the fleeing Romans. Finish them off. Vercingetorix says no. Too risky. His warriors are pissed. They think he's being coward. To prove he's not afraid of Caesar, Vercingetorix retreats to Alesia. A massive hill fortress. Stone walls. Perfect defensive position. He's basically saying, come get me, Caesar. I'll wait right here. Caesar smiles. Because Vercingetorix just traded his greatest advantage, mobility, for a static position. The hunter just walked into a cage. Alesia sits on top of Mount Auxois, a plateau rising 150 meters above the surrounding plains. It's not just high. It's naturally fortified. Steep slopes on all sides. Stone walls at the top. Multiple gates. Inside, 80,000 Gallic warriors plus thousands of civilians. Food for months. Water from springs. Weapons stockpiled. It's a fortress designed to withstand anything. When Caesar's legions reach Alesia, his officers expect the order: prepare to assault. Standard Roman procedure: build siege towers, battering rams, scale the walls. Caesar looks at the hill, at the walls, at the terrain, then says something nobody expects. We're not attacking. We're building. His officers are confused. Building what, sir? A wall. All the way around. Here's the problem. Alesia's plateau is huge. To completely surround it, you need a wall 18 kilometers long. That's 11 miles. A fortified wall. With towers, ditches, traps. Caesar has 60,000 men. They're exhausted from months of campaign. They're low on food. Low on morale. And he wants them to build 18 kilometers of fortifications, while 80,000 enemies sit on a hill above them, able to attack anytime? One officer reportedly said, "Sir, with respect, this is suicide." Caesar's response, "Then dig faster." See, Caesar understands something about sieges. Assaulting Alesia would cost more than 20,000 Roman lives. Maybe more. Even if he wins, his army would be shattered. But if he starves them out? 0 Roman casualties. Just time and patience. The problem? Vercingetorix has food for months. But Caesar's pretty sure he doesn't have food for 80,000 people and their families for months. Math is simple. More than 80,000 mouths eating limited supplies equals starvation in weeks. All Caesar has to do is wait. And make sure nobody escapes. September 52 BC. Roman soldiers, trained killers, become construction workers. They dig ditches, pile earth into ramparts, cut down forests for stakes, working in shifts, 24 hours a day, while Gauls on the hill watch, confused at first, then terrified as they realize what's happening. Caesar's not just besieging them. He's building a prison with no doors. The inner wall, called the circumvallation, is an engineering masterpiece. And we know exactly what it looked like, because Caesar wrote it down, and because archaeologists in the 1860s found it, right where he said, the 3 lines of death. Line 1, the water moats. First, Romans dig 2 trenches, each 4.5 meters wide and 1.5 meters deep. They flood the inner trench with water diverted from nearby streams. Why? Because anyone trying to cross now has to swim. In armor. Under arrow fire. Good luck with that. Line 2, the lily pads. Behind the moats, Romans dig thousands of small pits, each 1 meter deep. At the bottom of each pit, sharpened wooden stakes. Then they cover the pits with brush and leaves. From a distance? Looks like solid ground. Step on it? You fall onto a stake that goes through your leg. Romans called them lilies, because they bloomed when Gauls stepped on them. Dark humor. But effective. Line 3, the stimuli. These are just evil. Romans take logs, sharpen one end, fire harden the point, then bury them at angles in the ground, pointing outward. Like giant caltrops. Or ancient landmines. Anyone charging the wall runs straight into them. Impales themselves before reaching the Romans. Behind all these traps, the actual fortification. Earthen rampart 3.6 meters high. Wooden palisade on top adding another 2 meters. Watchtowers every 24 meters. Each tower holds 10 archers with clear firing lanes. Total length 18 kilometers. Built in 3 weeks. That's 600 meters per day. By hand. With shovels and axes. Modern military engineers say it's impossible. But archaeologists literally found it. The ditches are still there. The rampart outline. The tower foundations. Caesar wasn't exaggerating. He actually did it. Inside Alesia, Vercingetorix watches his prison being built. He sends cavalry to break out. Stop the construction. They attack the Roman work crews. Bad idea. Romans working on walls aren't defenseless laborers. They're legionaries who've been fighting for 6 years. When Gauls attack, they drop shovels and pick up swords. The cavalry charge becomes a slaughter. Surviving Gauls flee back to Alesia. Vercingetorix realizes they're trapped. Completely. Totally. No way out. He does the only thing he can, sends messengers before the wall closes completely. Their mission, ride to every Gallic tribe. Tell them Alesia is surrounded. Bring everyone. Every warrior. Every weapon. Come save us or Gaul dies. The messengers escape. Barely. Caesar doesn't chase them. Actually smiles when they ride away. Because he wants them to bring help. He's about to show all of Gaul what happens when you fight Rome. 2 weeks later. Caesar's scouts bring news that makes his officers go pale. Sir, there's an army approaching. How big? All of them, sir. Every tribe in Gaul. We estimate 250,000. Dead silence in Caesar's tent. 250,000 warriors. Marching to Alesia. To save Vercingetorix. To crush Rome. Let's be clear about the situation. Inside Alesia, 80,000 Gallic warriors outside approaching. 250,000 warriors Caesar's force. 60,000 Roman. Caesar is outnumbered 6.6 to 1. He's surrounded. Enemies on both sides. If they attack simultaneously, from inside and outside, Romans get crushed. This is the moment where every rational commander retreats. Abandons the siege. Lives to fight another day. Caesar's insane decision. Build another wall. His officers think he's joking. He's not. Sir, we're all ready. I know. Build it facing outward this time. Keep the relief army out. Sir, that's 21 kilometers. I want it done in 2 weeks. Start now. This is the outer wall, facing away from Alesia. It's longer than the inner wall, 21 kilometers versus 18 kilometers. And it has to be even stronger, because 250,000 Gauls are coming. Romans now work double shifts, half building the outer wall, half maintaining the inner wall, while 80,000 Gauls watch from Alesia, while 250,000 approach. It's a race against time. Outer wall gets the same treatment as inner wall. Water-filled ditches, lily pad, pit, stimuli, stakes, rampart plus palisade watchtowers. But bigger, deeper, deadlier. Because Caesar knows, this is where the real fight happens. Vercingetorix's 80,000s? They're starving, weakening daily. But the relief army? Fresh, angry, motivated. This is every warrior in Gaul, coming to save their leader, to push Rome out forever. Somehow, impossibly, Romans finish, 13 days after starting, 21 kilometers of fortification. Just as relief army appears on horizon, Caesar now sits in the middle, walls facing in, walls facing out. 60,000 Romans, 330,000 Gauls surrounding them. It's the most insane defensive position in military history. One officer asks, "Sir, what's the plan?" Caesar, "Simple. We kill anyone who tries to cross our walls, from either direction. And if they attack both sides at once, then we fight on both sides at once." It's not a plan. It's barely a hope. But it's all they've got. The relief army doesn't attack immediately. They camp 1.5 kilometers from Caesar's outer wall. Their commanders, 4 Gallic chiefs, study the Roman fortifications, looking for weaknesses. They see the ditches, the stakes, the towers. One of them says, "We'll lose thousands breaking through." Another responds, "We have thousands to lose." Romans don't. True. This is war of attrition. Gauls can afford 50,000 casualties. Romans can't afford 5,000. The cavalry battle. First assault isn't infantry. It's cavalry. Gauls have 8,000 horsemen, best riders in Europe. They charge the outer wall. Not to break through, to test defenses. Find weak points. Force Romans to spread out. Romans have cavalry too, but not Gallic cavalry. German cavalry. Caesar recruited them from across the Rhine. Tribes who hate Gauls. When Gallic horsemen charge, Germans countercharge. What follows is brutal. Horses slamming into horses. Riders stabbing with spears. Germans fight differently. They jump off horses mid-charge. Fight on foot. Stab enemy horses. Gauls have never seen this tactic. Chaos erupts. Gallic cavalry breaks. Retreats. First assault failed. From Alesia's walls, Vercingetorix sees everything. Sees the relief army. Sees the failed cavalry charge. He knows what he has to do. Attack simultaneously. Pin Romans between two forces. But his warriors are starving. Weak. Still, he has no choice. He orders an assault for tomorrow. Coordinate with relief army. Crush Romans between hammer and anvil. Roman legionaries on the walls can't sleep. They can hear Gauls on both sides. Drums. War chants. They're surrounded by enemies who outnumber them 6-1. One wrong move. One section breaks. They're all dead. Caesar walks the walls that night. Talks to soldiers. Not speeches. Just conversations. "You scared?" "Yes, sir." "Good. Means you're smart. Use that fear. Stay sharp." He tells them the truth. Tomorrow we're in for the fight of our lives. Some of us won't make it. But if we just hold, we win everything. Dawn breaks. War horns blow from both directions. The assault begins. Relief army hits the outer wall with 60,000 warriors. Same time, Vercingetorix launches 40,000 from Alesia at inner wall. Romans now fighting on two fronts. Half the legions facing out. Half facing in. Gauls charge across open ground. Roman archers fire. Slingers hurl lead bullets. First wave hits the water moat. Some try to swim. Armor drags them under. They drown. Others try to jump. Land in lily pads. Stakes pierce legs. But there's so many. They fill the ditches with their own bodies. Use corpses as bridges. Reach the rampart. Start climbing. Romans on top stab down with spears. Push ladders away. But Gauls keep coming. Sheer numbers pushing forward. Meanwhile, Vercingetorix's men attack from Alesia. They're weaker. Starving. but desperate. They know if relief army fails they die. So they charge like madmen. Romans on inner wall fight just as hard. Because if Vercingetorix breaks through, they're trapped between two armies. For 6 hours battle rages. Romans holding. Barely. Then, section of outer wall starts buckling. Too many Gauls. Not enough Romans. A tower falls. Gap in the wall. Gauls pour through. If they break the line, it's over. Caesar sees it. Grabs his cavalry reserve. 60,000 German and Gallic riders. Yes, some Gauls fight for Rome, tribes that hate Vercingetorix. Charges personally into the gap. Most generals command from rear. Caesar fights from front. He's 48 years old. Should be too old for frontline combat. Doesn't care. Rides into the gap. Sword drawn. His cavalry follows. Crashes into Gallic breakthrough. Hand-to-hand slaughter in the gap. For 30 minutes it's pure chaos. Then Gallic assault breaks. They retreat. Not routed. Just exhausted. Can't sustain the push. Day 1 result. Gauls withdraw to camps. Romans hold both walls. Casualties. Gauls, more than 12,000 dead Romans, 2,000 dead, 4,000 wounded. Romans won. But they're bleeding. Can't sustain many more days like this. Both sides know. Next assault will decide everything. 2 days of tense quiet. Gauls regroup. Romans repair walls. Bury dead. Inside Alesia food runs out completely. Vercingetorix makes horrific decision. Expels all civilians. Women. Children. Elderly. Sends them toward Roman lines. Hoping Caesar will let them through. Feed them. Caesar refuses. Keeps walls closed. Civilians trapped between armies. They starve to death in no man's land. Thousands of them. It's brutal. Inhuman. But this is ancient warfare. Mercy gets you killed. Gallic commanders study Roman walls for weaknesses. Find one, northwest section. Near Mount Ray. Terrain there is rough. Romans couldn't build ditches as deep. Wall is slightly lower. If they can break through there, flank the entire Roman position. They decide, all-out assault. Everything they have. 60,000 warriors at Mount Ray section. Another 60,000 at other sections, keeping Romans spread out. Vercingetorix will attack from inside with every man he has left. 330,000 Gauls versus 60,000 Romans. Winner takes Gaul. Dawn day 3. Gallic war horns blow at 5 a.m. Still dark. They attack at dawn. Hoping darkness gives advantage. Romans on walls can barely see them coming. Just hear them. Thousands of footsteps. War chants. Then they're at the walls. Mount Ray the main assault. 60,000 Gauls hit the northwest section. This isn't probing attack. This is total commitment. They've built portable bridges to cross ditches. Carry wicker shields overhead to block arrows. Reach the rampart in minutes. Start climbing. Romans on this section, maybe 5,000 men. Outnumbered 12-1. They fight desperately. Stabbing down. Pushing ladders. But Gauls keep coming. Reach the top of rampart. Hand-to-hand on the wall. Roman line starts bending. Caesar's on the opposite side of circumvallation when news arrives. Mount Ray section is breaking. He can see it from distance. Gap forming in his lines. If they break through there, whole position collapses. He makes instant decision. Grabs every reserve he has, 6,000 cavalry. Rides personally to Mount Ray. Not to the wall. Behind it, he's going to flank the flankers. Caesar's cavalry rides outside the circumvallation. Around to where Gauls are massed at Mount Ray. Gauls don't see them coming. Too focused on breaking the wall. Caesar's cavalry hits them from behind. 6,000 horsemen crashing into rear of 60,000 infantry. Complete surprise. Gauls at Mount Ray now fighting on two fronts. Romans on wall ahead, cavalry behind. They panic. Start to retreat. Retreat becomes rout. Romans on wall, seeing Gauls flee, pursue. What was breakthrough becomes slaughter. Meanwhile, inside Alesia, Vercingetorix sees relief army breaking. This is it. Last chance. Leads final assault personally. 40,000 starving Gauls charge the inner wall. Weakest attack of the siege. They have no strength left. Romans repel them easily. Vercingetorix watches his men die. Watches relief army flee. Realizes, it's over. Romans don't just win. They hunt. Cavalry chases fleeing Gauls for miles. Cut down thousands. By noon, battlefield is graveyard. Bodies everywhere. Gallic relief army shattered. Survivors scatter. Flee to their tribes. They'll never unite again. Total dead, entire siege. Gauls. More than 120,000 killed Romans. 3,000 killed, 8,000 wounded. Rome wins most lopsided siege in history. Not because of better soldiers. Because of better engineering. Better planning. One man's genius. Day after final battle. Silence. No more war horns. No more drums. Inside Alesia, 40,000 Gauls still alive. Starving. No food. No hope. No relief army. Vercingetorix calls council of chiefs. His question, do we fight to the death or surrender? One chief says, we fight. Die as warriors. Vercingetorix shakes his head, then we all die. Women. Children. Everyone. He makes decision. I started this war. I'll end it. Alone. Next morning, gates of Alesia open. Single horseman emerges. Vercingetorix. Wearing full armor. Best weapons. Royal regalia. He rides slowly toward Roman lines. Stops 50 meters from Caesar's position. Dismounts. Takes off his weapons. Throws them on ground. Sits down at Caesar's feet. Doesn't say a word. Roman soldiers watch in silence. This is their enemy. Man who united Gaul. Who burned their supply lines. Who almost beat them. Now kneeling. Defeated. Caesar doesn't gloat. Doesn't mock. Just stares at Vercingetorix. Sees worthy opponent. Genius tactician. Who made one mistake, staying at Alesia. Finally speaks, you fought well. Then orders him chained. Vercingetorix will be taken to Rome. Paraded in Caesar's triumph. Then executed. That's how Rome treats rebels, no matter how brave. Caesar offers Alesia's survivors generous terms. Warriors become slaves, civilians go free. Aedui tribe warriors released. It's calculated mercy. He needs Gaul pacified. Not destroyed. Can't rule corpses. Gaul's rebellion ends at Alesia. Some tribes keep fighting. Minor skirmishes for 2 more years. But it's over. Everyone knows it. Rome has won. Not through slaughter. Through engineering. Caesar built 2 walls. Starved 80,000. Defeated 250,000. Lost 3,000 men doing it. Its greatest siege victory in history. And it changed everything. Let's break down the engineering. Because this is where genius lives. To build 39 kilometers of fortifications, 18 kilometers inner plus 21 kilometers outer. Romans needed 2 million cubic meters of earth moved, ditches plus ramparts, more than 100,000 wooden stakes, cut from nearby forests, millions of smaller stakes for lily pads and stimuli, constant food for 60,000 workers. They did this in 6 weeks. That's 333,000 cubic meters per week, 55,000 per day. Modern construction equipment would struggle with this timeline. Romans did it with shovels and muscle. Caesar divided work by legion. Each legion responsible for specific section. Competition between legions. Who builds fastest? Strongest? Pride drove them harder than whips. Each century 80 men, got specific task. Some dig ditches, others pile ramparts, others cut stakes, others stand guard. Gauls could attack anytime. 24-hour shifts. Never stopped. In 1860s, Napoleon III, French emperor, obsessed with Julius Caesar, funded archaeological dig at Alesia. They found everything Caesar described. Ditch outlines exactly where he said, rampart foundations matching measurements, tower positions every 24 meters, as Caesar wrote, even found Roman weapons, tools buried there. Later excavations, 1990s to 2000s, found lily pad pits with stake fragments, water channel systems for moat flooding, evidence of towers, gates exactly as described. Caesar didn't exaggerate. He recorded truth. U.S. Army War College studied Alesia in 1980s. Conclusion: impossible without modern surveying equipment and organization. But Caesar's Romans had something better. Standardization. Every legion built same way. Same measurements. Same techniques. Learned from decades of campaigns. They were human construction machines. Closest modern equivalent: Siege of Leningrad, World War II. Germans surrounded city. Built fortifications to keep Soviets in. Took months. Used modern equipment. Caesar did it faster. With shovels. Or, D-Day Atlantic Wall. Germans built 2,400 kilometers of fortifications over 3 years. Caesar built 39 kilometers in 6 weeks. Different scale, but shows Roman engineering capability. 3 reasons. Discipline. Legionaries followed orders without question. Competition. Legions competed for honor. Desperation. They knew if they failed, they died. When survival meets pride, humans do impossible things. Romans proved it at Alesia. The Siege of Alesia changed Western Europe forever. Not because of death toll. Not because of battle tactics. Because it ended Gallic independence. After Alesia, all of Gaul became Roman province. 52 BC Gauls are fierce, independent tribes. 51 BC, Gauls are Roman subjects. 1 siege. 1 year. Total transformation. He was kept in Roman prison for 6 years. Waiting for Caesar's triumph, victory parade. 46 BC, finally paraded through Rome in chains. Thousands jeered him. Through garbage. Then he was executed. Strangled in prison. Standard Roman procedure for defeated enemy leaders. But his legacy lived on. Vercingetorix lost. Died in chains. But modern France considers him national hero. First person to unite Gallic tribes. First Frenchman to fight for French independence. There's a massive statue of him at Alesia site today. Standing on the hill where he surrendered. Symbol of resistance. Of unity. Even in defeat he won something. Alesia made Caesar invincible in Roman politics. Showed he could do the impossible. Led directly to him crossing Rubicon in 49 BC. Civil war. Dictatorship. Assassination. All of Roman history after Alesia flows from this siege. You can visit Alesia today. It's called Elise Saint-Reine in Burgundy, France. The ditches are still visible. Rampart outlines. Tower foundations. Museum on site shows artifacts. Roman weapons, tools, Gallic coins. It's surreal. Standing where 330,000 men fought. Where Caesar built impossible walls. Where Vercingetorix surrendered. 39 kilometers of fortifications in 6 weeks. 120,000 plus Gauls dead. 3,000 Romans dead. 250,000 man relief army defeated. All of Gaul conquered in single siege. One battle. Changed Western civilization. If this were a movie, people would say it's unrealistic. Nobody builds 2 walls facing opposite directions. Nobody surrounds themselves on purpose. The numbers are too big. But it's all true. Every detail confirmed by archaeology. Caesar's own account, written in commentaries on the Gallic War, matches the ground. He wasn't bragging. He was reporting. Hollywood gave us Gladiator, 300, Braveheart. Great movies. Terrible history. But Alesia? You couldn't make a movie this dramatic without people calling BS. 250,000 Gauls versus 60,000 Romans. 2 walls. Double siege. 1 genius general who bet everything on engineering. And won. That's not fiction. That's Julius Caesar at the peak of his power. Showing the world why Rome ruled for 400 years. Not because Roman soldiers were braver. Because Roman generals were smarter. And sometimes, when you're outnumbered 5-1, smart beats brave every single time. Welcome to Alesia. Where Caesar trapped 250,000 warriors with a wall. And conquered a nation without attacking it.